Hey everyone, it is December 11th, and yesterday we got the world premiere trailer for Crimson Desert, the highly anticipated game coming from Pearl Abyss, the makers of Black Desert Online. Black Desert Online is one of the most popular MMORPGs currently on the market, and to be completely honest with you, it is not exactly one of my favorites. I've played it for a while and did not particularly care for a lot of the systems they had in it. But I will tell you that this trailer for Crimson Desert has me hyped. Putting aside just the beautiful scenery and the amazing graphics that almost melted my computer by just watching the trailer, the combat in Crimson Desert given to us in this trailer looks a lot grittier and a lot more realistic than Black Desert's. Black Desert's popular action combat has you fighting hordes and hordes of mobs with giant cleaving attacks and lighting up your entire screen with visual effects. But what they've given us here in Crimson Desert's trailer is a much more gritty, realistic feel, like Assassin's Creed or The Witcher. But the greatest thing you see inside the trailers was the main character climbing on top of giant dragons, raising the question in my mind, will Crimson Desert be the spiritual successor to Dragons Dogma Online? Dragons Dogma Online being cancelled was a heartbreak for many fans of the game, and is one of those games out there that simply doesn't have any other game that's somewhat in its style or covering the same niche. If you're wanting to fight giant monsters, you can jump into Monster Hunter World or even Dauntless. If you want to climb on the back of a creature stabbing it, maybe you just continue to rerun the Great Hunt in Final Fantasy XIV. But none of these quite satisfy the itch that Dragons Dogma Online left. And this is all because Dragons Dogma Online wasn't just about climbing on top of creatures, but it's a game that brought dynamic group play, exciting, fun action combat with a more realistic feel than things like Black Desert Online, and combined it with an incredibly story-driven game inside of a co-op experience. I for one am someone who played Dragons Dogma Online through a VPN and didn't understand a word of its language. Yet somehow the game was able to entrench me in the story, making guesses as to what was going on, because they did such a good job with that storytelling. And that's exactly what brings me to the question of, can Crimson Desert fill that void? The combat looks incredible, the animations, the creature climbing are all checkmarks. But Crimson Desert was believed to be an MMO, and some of the news that's come out with it is now classified as an upcoming open world action adventure. It says it's going to combine the elements of narrative-driven single-player games with online multiplayer functionality. And their website says, will you explore these strange new lands alone or venture into them with other players? Indicating every single part of the game, including the main campaign, can be played in a co-op or a multiplayer facet, bringing in mind the way The Division, Ghost Recon Wildlands, or even Dragons Dogma Online functioned and worked. Every part of the game can be done in a multiplayer aspect, instead of forcing you into single player in those story-driven moments. The website also says not all will be prepared to endure the trials and tribulations unleashed by your enemies. Answer your calling and lead a band of battle-hardened mercenaries against those who seek your downfall. You won't be able to take on the many threats that exist across the lands alone, but you're in luck, since you have a group of your own mercenaries to rely on. Bringing to mind again Dragon Dogma Online pawn system. Being able to build your own group of people to take along with you to fight these battles alongside NPCs if you don't have group mates that are joining you in this game. I'll say the biggest question mark I have with Crimson Desert is character customization, given that the story given to us says that the players will assume the role of Macduff, a skilled warrior with a tragic past, as he leads his mercenaries into conflict to regain lands that were once their own. It says Macduff is Crimson Desert's fixed protagonist, but Pearl Abyss still promises in-depth character customization. But it remains to be seen whether or not you'll be able to play the game as male or female, if you do decide to play a co-op or multiplayer, if everyone is playing the same protagonist but looking slightly different, similar to Ghost Recon Wildlands, how everyone played the same protagonist of Nomad. I will say though that this trailer has made me very hyped for Crimson Desert, and if you're like me trying to fill a void left by Dragons Dogma Online, then I highly recommend keeping your eye on Crimson Desert as it looks to launch next winter.